What up, YouTube? It's Dragon back again with another beginner guide for Raid Shadow Legends. This time I'm going to take you down the road to your first 6-star. I'm going to talk a little bit about the what, who, when, and why. So here, check this out. The beginning of the road to your first 6-star comes from a question that I hear far too often. Who should my first 6-star be? The short answer, your first 6-star should be a farmer. The reason is because 6-starring a farmer first will really help you in grinding gear from the campaign and grinding up food for more 6-stars. Just that simple. Now, what really makes a good farmer? The basics is it should be probably attack based, maybe defense based, have plenty of AoEs, and have a good or neutral affinity for the in-game farming stage, which is 12-3, 12-6. That is spirit, so either spirit, void, or magic preferably is going to be the better affinities for a farmer. Usually your starters can be solid farmers to begin with, but there's also other good heroes that can farm well, like Fellhound, Sylar, Skullcrown, Ray, Biggin, Queen Ava is the top of the brutal farming charts. So those are usually good options. There are a few others out there that people may suggest, but those are the ones that I usually suggest for a first farmer. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next phase of the road to your first 6-star. Now to the next stop on our road to your first 6-star. When? When should you start grinding to make your first 6-star? My suggestion, and in my experience, you usually want to start grinding for your first 6-star either at the end of hard campaign or maybe even about the middle of brutal campaign when you get up to map 8 on brutal. So that way you can get a good set of 3, 4, preferably 4 or 5-star lifesteal gear and 4 and 5-star crit rate or speed gear pieces. So that way you can make a nice solid build, so you are your 5-star farmer is very reliable in farming 12-3 hard. That is probably going to be the place with the best XP per energy when you're just using a 5-star farmer, unless maybe you have top tier Lego farmers, but that's usually the best place to. And you want to have your 5-star be able to reliably farm 12-3 hard with just your farmer. The farmer I'm using as an example would be Kale and 3 pieces of food. And this is kind of a good example of why you want a 6-star farmer first, because they won't be able to push to 12-3 brutal and farm there reliably as a 5-star, and even on 12-3 hard where you have better XP than most of the brutal campaign, it takes so long. So you really want to give yourself the quicker runs on the better maps to get the most XP for your energy costs. It takes a pretty simple build to make. You can make it from, hard campaign gear, preferably push up to the brutal campaign gear with, maybe a full team to grind gear there. And then you come back and grind food just like this, where you have 1 farmer and 3 pieces of food, just like that. And as you can tell, it takes 44 seconds with a 5-star farmer. Good in-game 12-3 brutal farmers are somewhere between 10 and 20 seconds, and it really makes a difference. So now that we've got the what role, the what role and the when should you, let's talk a little bit more about who and how. Okay, now we're coming up to the end of our road for making our first 6-star farmer. I wanted to go over a few details to make sure to give you the right direction so you don't make any mistakes you may regret later. What exactly does it take to make a 6-star farmer? What exactly what heroes should you use as food and things like that to make sure that you don't make any mistakes and use your energy efficiently. My suggestion is you rank up common and uncommon heroes. You'll be doing that for most of the game unless you're just swimming in rares you welling out. And if you're not a rare, don't use rares, epics, legendaries, anything like that to rank up heroes. At least keep 1 copy of every rare, epic, and legendary. you never know when it'll be used as a fusion or used in faction wars or become useful in a dungeon or something later down the road. Just my little tip there for you. So for the most part, you'll be doing commons and uncommons. You rank 3 commons up to their max level, which is 10. Use some level 1 commons, and you make them level 2s. You rank the level 2s up to 20, and then you use 2 level 2s per or 2-star level 1s to rank up a 2-star level 20, and you make them 3 stars, and you progress on and on up until the point where you get 5-star level 1s, and you feed them into your farmer to make them a 6-star. That is the general process of ranking up, and especially in early game, you're going to really want to make sure you don't make any mistakes on feeding, decent epics or even usable rares early in the game. Now that we pretty much got the process of what role, when should you, and what should you use to do it, we're going to fast forward a little bit to when you have your 6-star farmer. Now, as you may have found out by this point in time, making your first 6-star farmer, it's a grind. It can be long, tedious, and quite expensive when it comes to energy, your mystery shards, silver, farming and leveling up the gear needed. But you're past all that now. You have your 6-star farmer. What should your goals be? Well, when it comes to your 6-star farmer, the main things you want your 6-star farmer to be able to do is to help you push up through campaign to get to map 12 on brutal difficulty. The main places where people farm in the end game, including with the new Nightmare campaign, which is kind of really in the absolute end game when people start farming there a little bit, along with very good rosters, is 12-3 brutal and 12-6. This 12-6 comes with us about 1 to 2% more XP. 12-3 comes with about 10% more silver. I prefer 12-3 myself, so that's where I farm. Now that you got your 6-star farmer, and I'm going to use my traditional 6-star farmer, what I use is Bellower. So what you want him to do is to be able to go into 12-3, farm reliably and fast. So that way you can really kick out them heroes. As you can tell from the grind that you did to make your first 6-star, you don't want it to take that long to make your next 6-star. So you take your 6-star farmer, you push him up through 12-3 or up to 12 to map 12 on brutal, and you get them to the point where they can farm 12-3 or 12-6 reliably and fast. That is essentially the whole thing about having a farmer. But you can also use your farmer to grind the in-game campaign, or then the end of campaign gear. You can get a lot of solid gear that can get you up through brutal or nightmare clan boss straight from the campaign by hitting up lifesteal, speed, accuracy, crit rate, map set or set maps. And even though it's common, uncommon gear, so occasionally a rare piece will drop from the bosses. If you get the right main stats, it really makes campaign grinding for gear worthwhile. Now that we've got our goals, let's talk a little bit more about the builds for farmers. Okay, now I'm going to assume that you went ahead and 6-starred your starting hero, and that's who you're going to use as your initial farmer to make more 6-stars. Now let's go over their build a little bit. A build like this that Kel has right here is a solid start for a 6-star farmer. If my Kel was 6-star level 60, fully ascended, maybe had some accessories down here, and a build similar to this, he should be able to do 12-3 in about 30, maybe 45 seconds, which is similar to how he can do 12-3 hard as a 5-star, but you get more XP and silver for your runs. And this is usually what a lot of this build similar to this is what a lot of people usually start with their farmer, and I'll go a little bit over that. You want 4 pieces of lifesteal, so that way you can consistently heal up to make sure that your farmer, your solo farmer, can survive and finish the run through 12-3 brutal. Outside of that, you may want to go either crit rate or speed. depending on the stat requirements you get down here. When it comes to your initial farmer, the main things that matter is getting a high crit rate as close to 100% as you can. This is a 5-star and the gear ain't max, but you want to get as close to as much 100% crit rate as you can. And then you want to stack on the attack and crit damage, as much as possible. Speed isn't a big factor here because as long as you have about 110 speed, your 6-star farmer will go first every wave. But if you can increase the speed, then you decrease the time it takes for you to run through the runs. So essentially, you wanna reach those stat limits for this 5-star farmer, and for your 6-star farmer. You want crit rate gloves, attack percent chest, and speed boots, and that's the beginner build for a starter hero to be a farmer. Eventually, you can get them to a similar build like this, where they have high crit rate, high crit damage, high speed, and high attack. And when you can reach those stat thresholds, you will one-shot the waves, the first 2 waves, and then maybe 2-shot the last wave. And it's very fast, and it's really kind of gear intensive, but it's all about making sure that you one-shot that first and second wave. Another build is if you go with someone who has solid AoEs, like an AoE on their A1, or all AoEs in their kit, similar to my Bellower, or similar to Bellower. You can build similarly like I have, and I went speed. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to a Bellower build for speed farming, speed set. The types match. You want a speed farmer, use speed sets. And again, it's still crit rate, attack, and speed boots. But all speed sets, it makes them really fast, and you don't need as much, you don't need higher stat thresholds when you do a speed build, because he will attack twice every wave before the enemy attack once. So especially with Bellower and probably Rays, Skull Crowns, full AoE heroes like that, speed builds for your farmer are very strong, and they are still quite useful when it comes to arena and dungeons and things like that. So now that we went over the builds a little bit, let's talk a little bit about what do you want to do after you make your 6-star farmer, after you got them reliably built. You went into the campaign and grind out some gear. You've got your build down solid. They're reliable. What else? What's the next step? After this, you kind of want to start making as many not as many. You want to start making your clan boss team 5 and even 6-star themselves, and make sure you really grind up the gear to gear them for your clan boss team. And you might also want to rank up your arena team to 4, maybe 5 stars, and quite possibly a couple heroes that you might use in Minotaur, but we'll go over that in another video. Now, if you do use someone like Bellower, Skull Crown, or someone like that, and not your starter, then I actually have a video on Bellower that has multiple kinds of builds, but it would apply to Skull Crown and plenty of them other AoE nuking farmers, and I'll link that in the description below. But essentially, this is where the road ends for this video. I've told you, what role, when should you, how should you, what builds to do, and what to do after. So if you've liked this content, if you found this helpful as a beginner guide, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe. It really helps the channel, helps my videos get out there, so that way it can help other people. I also stream a couple times a week on Twitch, so the link will be down. The link for that will be down there, and feel free to come through, join, hang out. It's a little more chill in my streams. Just to kind of talk. If you have any questions, anything like that, I'm there to help. Also, if you do have questions or anything like that, I have a Discord. Link will also be down in the description. So feel free to join my Discord. I'd be happy to help you go build your first 6-star farmer. and answer any questions you may have with any of my other videos or content. So make sure, stop in, say hi at the very least. And until next time, happy grinding, and may the shards break in your favor.